Welcome, Julie. Thank you for joining me for this YouTube series on self-publishing. I do have your official bio below the video, but would you mind telling us a bit about yourself in your own words?
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here. So my name is Juli Sellers, and I am a self-published author. And I wrote my first book at the age of 35. So it just goes to show you can change careers and become something that you dreamed about since you were a little girl, even if you didn't do it right out of college. And that is something that I'm continuing to do. I'm planning on writing my next book here this year, and just want to just keep on writing. And I do some editing work on the side, but mostly that's kind of what I would like to focus on career-wise going forward.
Awesome. That's so great. Such a good reminder that it doesn't really matter what age or stage you're in. It's not too late to start writing and publishing. So I love that encouragement. So what is the title of your self-published book? And you said you did publish it recently. So tell us when you did that.
So the book is called Yes, Father, A Daughter's Journey to Forgiveness, and it was published in 2022, so last year for me, about a year ago.
Awesome. So what led you to decide to self-publish that book?
I thought about it a lot in terms of trying to either traditionally publish or self-publish, and there were a lot of benefits I thought on both sides. Kind of the reason that I leaned more towards the self-publishing is because where I was at in terms of, say, my platform and readership was not really where a traditional publisher would want it to be in order to offer me a contract. And also, I wanted to get the words out sooner, and it sometimes takes quite a long time doing the traditional publishing route. So it just felt like it was going to be something that would be more beneficial for what I needed and what I wanted at the time.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a common reason for people. And I don't know if it was especially just with the pandemic or what. People were, at home and they were writing, but I felt like there was an influx of people who were, it was just like, you know what? I've written this thing. I want to just get it out now. I don't want to wait. So that's yeah, definitely a common reason that I hear.
Mhm.
So what parts of that self-publishing process did you enjoy the most?
Kind of the freedom. It was nice to be able to sort of have my hand in every single part of the puzzle. Not to say that I might not necessarily obviously be involved in a traditional publishing route, but I really got to make all the decisions. There wasn't somebody else's, money or, rights involved. It really just was about, okay, what do I think is going to be best? And so it let me take something that was a passion project and really keep it, in line with my vision for it. So that was really honestly the best part.
Hmm, awesome. I love that. And I assume there were probably at least some challenges along the way. So do you mind sharing what challenges you faced and maybe how you overcame those in the process?
Yeah. Well, I had no idea what I was doing. No clue. That was like the worst part is I was just like, okay, I want to do this thing, but how does one do this? It was all a mystery to me. So I had to do a lot of research in order to be able to kind of figure out, okay, what are the steps involved? And, how does one overcome this sort of stigma of a self-published book not being as good of quality as a traditionally published one? So that was kind of my first step was just figuring out what is actually involved in this process. I'm really fortunate that I am a part of Hope Writers online writing community, and there's just a lot of resources that there were there, a lot of people who've gone through the same process, so I could kind of uh, learn from their mistakes and also benefit from their experience. And follow the wisdom that they had, and able to find resources there for people to help me along the way. So I'm really grateful for that piece, because yeah, I just had no clue what I was doing, and I had to learn a lot, and I know that there's still more that I probably need to learn, but it definitely started there.
So yeah, community, writing community, that is so helpful when, yeah, you just don't know what to do. And I feel like it doesn't seem to matter what part of your sort of writing career you're in, the next stage is always just baffling. So
You
to
always
have,
have something.
yeah, totally. So to have someone who's a step ahead or a few steps ahead to go, okay, what do I do next? How do I do this? It's, oh, it saves you so much time and stress to have someone be able to give you some support that way. I love that.
Yes.
So, what parts of the process did you do yourself and what did you hire out?
So obviously I did the writing myself. But then at that point in time, I was like, okay, this is where my expertise sort of ends. I do editing work as well, but I feel like it's really important to have somebody else edit your words, because it's just impossible, A, to catch all the mistakes, and B, to sort of separate your vision with what actually came out on the page sometimes. So I did hire a developmental editor, someone who could help me look at the big picture and just make sure that, where I was headed, I was not just readable, but understandable and would appeal to a reader. Were there things that were really confusing? Stuff like that, which was immensely helpful. Like I feel like I changed so much in my rewrite based on the feedback that I got. So I definitely recommend that. I also had a friend of mine who is a writer. She just was the first person to ever read it. She looked it over, and she really was that first set of eyes to say, no, this is confusing, or I have questions about this, or I want to know more about this. Just all those types of things that you kind of just don't think of, because the story is all up in your head. And so you know all the details, and why doesn't everybody else? So that was good. And then I had my mom, who is an excellent editor, go through it many, many times after that. So I liked that I had a lot of different sets of eyes, people who knew the story, people who didn't know the story, be able to kind of help me with that editing process. So definitely the editing was not something I did all on my own. And then after that, I also wanted to make sure that the look was good on the book, that, it would be appealing visually. And that is really outside my wheelhouse. And so that's why I hired you to do that, and have somebody who's able to help me with just making sure that the cover looks great, and then the interior formatting is going to be not just looking good, but also, work within the parameters of the sites that it needs to be uploaded to. Because that also, I had just, no clue what was required or anything like that. And the other piece to that too is just help with some marketing too, like helping with like keywords, and like you know the back cover, and what it said, and how to describe the book, and all those types of things, which were something I kind of knew had to be done, but I just didn't know how it was best to do it. And also it helped to have somebody who had more experience along those lines, knowing what is going to be helpful for the type of reader I'm looking for, and the places I'm hoping to expose the book, and just the better reach. And so there was just, yeah, so much marketing help along the way too, just in terms of helping the book be put in the right places and looked at by the hopefully the right people.
Awesome. It sounds like you had a lot of great hands helping along the way. And I think what I love the most about that is it feels like you were able to really dedicate yourself to the story and the craft of writing, and then lean on the support and expertise of other people to really make it shine, instead of, kind of stressing out about all those other pieces, right? Because writing itself is hard work. And then to add on to it all those things that don't feel like your wheelhouse, it can feel really overwhelming, and it can prevent people from actually, publishing their book, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I love that you were able to get the support that you needed to get the book out there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, what would you change, if anything, about your self-publishing journey?
I would actually have started marketing a lot sooner. I just didn't understand really how important it was. It kind of like in the grand scheme of things, it seemed like a thing that you would do after the book was written. But really, I've learned along the way, not just from watching other writers, but also just based on, my own experience, that readers like to be engaged through the whole
Mm.
process. And so, we're all addicted to behind the scenes information that, just helps us feel connected to whatever's going on. So, my plan is for my next book is to actually let people know what's happening every step along the way and give them sort of insider information, but also just get them kind of psyched up for it, ready for it. And I think that also helps them. I'm not trying to turn them into, like my promoters necessarily, but, I want them to be excited so that they can share that excitement with other people. And I think it is, just more useful for everyone all around. They get to be excited about something, and I get to have help sharing my excitement about this. So, definitely that would be something that I would kind of have a plan for in place. That's what, working on wait even before I start writing the book.
Amazing. That's great advice for other people who are on this journey too. So, I assume it's been a good process for you overall. So, I'm curious what benefits you've experienced by self-publishing.
Yeah, definitely. It was very beneficial in a lot of ways. I think the having the control, like I said, was really just nice. It's nice to be able to feel like the really important thing that you're pouring your heart out into is being handled with care. And so that was the main benefit it to me. I also get to keep the rights to the book, which I just really like that thought that nothing can happen to it without my say so. um, I like that I have the freedom to sort of sell it, whenever, wherever I want. That I can just get more royalties honestly from it this way, that I don't have to share any of the profits with somebody else, especially since, if you are self-publishing, you're not getting paid to do it. You're honestly in a lot of ways paying other people to do it. So it it's kind of important that you get as much back of that as possible. So the benefits of that are also just in some ways, I think on a more personal level, you can kind of be like, I did this. Like
Mm.
I accomplished something really important, something that like a lot of people dream about, but they don't actually end up doing. And so, I mean, I can look back and not just say, hey, I checked that off my bucket list, but I did something that was really important to me. And I can always just feel a lot of pride over that. Like the first time that I held my book in my hands, like, I mean, I think it probably would have been amazing no matter how I published it, but it just was a really powerful feeling to just realize that, my words were there in this beautiful book, and that it was going to be shared with other people, and that they would actually pay money for it and that maybe it would help somebody. I mean, just really wonderful thoughts all around.
Mm. So good. It actually makes me a little bit emotional. I love that that first book feeling, right? When you get to hold your book in your hands for the first time. It's just nothing
Mhm.
compares to that. It's so great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, what would you say to someone who is considering self-publishing?
Well, first off, go for it. If you're, worried about the cost or the time or, not knowing what to do, all of those are things that can be overcome. So, yes, it's going to be a hard process, but you can do it. It is possible, even if it takes a little bit longer, costs a little bit more, but there are ways to mitigate your costs. There are ways to get help. Definitely, if you can barter and trade your services for somebody else's, an expert in, cover design or something like that, for maybe your editing service or your writing service or something like that, just so that you can keep those costs down and don't have to worry about it. And then just remember that you're in control of this project. So if you don't do it, it's not going to get done. So I would say to just kind of make sure that, you keep at it a little bit at a time, even if you don't have a lot of time or a lot of resources, you are going to be in control of this ship. And so steer it into the harbor, no matter how long it takes.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Julie. That was so encouraging. Just everything you shared about your own journey and the helpful advice for others as well. So thank you for joining me for this.
Well, you're very welcome. I'm really happy that you had me on, and it's really cool that you're doing this so that other people can kind of come along on this journey with us.
Wonderful. Well, like I said, your bio is in the description below, and I'll also link to your book as well for people to check out. And I just encourage people to, yeah, follow along with Julie's writing journey. And yeah, to give self-publishing a shot. I think, as you've heard from Julie, it can be such a rewarding experience. So thank you all for watching and joining along on this self-publishing series.